In the world of sports, there are legends, and then there are legends. Jockey Ronnie Turcotte has won virtually every award thoroughbred racing has to offer. And in 1973, he rode the famous Secretariat to victory in all three Triple Crown races: the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. And in each, he recorded times that are records today, some 50 years later. And Secretariat and Turcotte are known just not inside racing, but around the world. And there are many, and I guess I should count myself as one of them, believe that the horse they call Big Red may have been the best horse to ever even wear a bridle. And Canadian-born Turcotte was far more than a passenger. In 1972, he won the Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes aboard Riva Ridge, making him one of two jockeys to win 5 Triple Crown races in back-to-back years. And Turcotte was North America's leading stakes-winning jockey in 1972 and 73, and was elected to Racing's Hall of Fame in 1979. Actually, he is in 9 Hall of Fames and holds the prestigious Order of Canada Award and the New Brunswick Award, the province's highest honor. He grew up a lumberjack near his current home in Grand Falls, New Brunswick, which is home to one of several statues of Secretariat. And while his life is known for racing victories, his overcoming personal tragedies, and his love of God, family, and his ongoing work to help fellow jockeys are perhaps his greatest victories. And he was in the Florida barn of Canadian trainer Lucien Lauren when an overgrown 2-year-old arrived, and he had his first glimpse of the racing legend.
So when he first came from the farm in Hialeah, and he was so pretty, I says to Lucien, I says, "Who's that pretty boy?" And he said, "Oh, that's a horse that just came down from the farm with a bunch of other horses." He says, "He's too good looking to be a racehorse." So he looked at me and he says, "Are you ready to go to work?" See, I had just come back from New Brunswick to which I had come spend the holiday with my family. And so I told him I was ready. I stuck my boots on. He says, "Well, get your tag and put it next to that stall." And he says, "You get on him and tell me what you think of it." My God, I love what I saw in the stall. And riding him was just a dream. I mean, he was so beautiful, so intelligent, not afraid of anything, never spooked from anything. We were going on the Jim Fitzsimmons Lane, heading to the racetrack to the Gap, and a horse, another 2-year-old from another barn, was coming running, and the other horse started, being a little fussy. There was 4 horses in our set, and I just pull up in front of him, reach over and grab him, just like I had a pony under me, and he didn't do anything. I said, "My God, this horse is something else." And on the racetrack, that's who he was. He was a little clumsy starting when I started to work him, but I never touched him. I just coaxed him, chirped to him, and he was learning very good. I remember the first time we had a workout, and the other horses probably going a quarter of a mile. They probably beat me 16th of a mile. And Lucien asked me, he says, "Ron, what happened there?" I says, "Nothing." I says, "Just he couldn't get his leg entangled." I says, he's got to learn. He said, "Why didn't we reach back there and hit him?" give him a couple of good ones. I said, look, Mr. Lauren, I says, we're not gonna start punishing him for things he don't know. And says, it takes time to make a good horse. So anyway, he said, well, you get on him every day then. So I started getting on him every day, and I got on him all the time. And by the fourth time, I was just going head and head with him. I had to restrain him to stay with them. So he was great.
Some 16 months later, Secretariat arrived at Churchill Downs as the odds-on favorite in the Kentucky Derby.
Jam is the leader. He leads it by a length. Secretariat is in the center of the race. Second Tragedies. Jockey Green now drops back. Coming on a bit is Forgo. Our native on the outside. Now under the stretch is Secretariat. Secretariat on the outside that takes the lead. Jam holding in second. Is Secretariat moving away? He has it by 2.5. Jam then on the outside. Our native.
Now the pressure was on with hopes for a Triple Crown victory, and in the series' second jewel, the Preakness Stakes at Pimlico, Turcotte had the audacity to move Secretariat from last to first in the race's very first turn.
I knew the horse so well. That's one of the reason, when I come out of the gate, my intention was to lay in the middle of the pack or maybe behind and make that big run like he always does. But when I saw everybody was taking a hold of their horse and there was a hole in the rail, I broke from the inside anyway. I just let him through there, and went ahead. I saw that Lucky Pink, I was going for the lead. So I went ahead and took the lead with him.
While many, including trainer Lucian Lauren and owner Penny Chenery, questioned his tactics, Secretariat went on to win easily in record time, a time that has never been topped.
Everybody was screaming how crazy I was going that fast, and Lucian thought I blew it, and it seemed like every move I was making with that horse, Lucian was just very nervous, and he always had something to say. Like in the Derby, for example, I took him back to last and just galloped. I was last passing the wire the first time around and first the second time around. But when I was last like that, he said, he says, I'm getting out of here.
Secretariat's Preakness victory set up the opportunity for racing to have its first Triple Crown winner in 25 years. And the Belmont Stakes gathered the interest of the world, which at the time was consumed by Richard Nixon's Watergate debacle and the Vietnam War. Only 4 were set to compete with Big Red, but the field included Sham, second in the Triple Crown's first 2 legs. And Secretariat was a son of Bold Ruler, who many said couldn't produce a winner of racing's storied 1.5-mile race.
Secretariat's on the inside, by ahead. Sham is on the outside. They've opened 10 lengths on My Gallant, who is third by ahead, with Fight the Prince fourth. Then it's another 8 lengths back to Private Smiles, who is trailing the field. They continue down the backstretch, and that's Secretariat now taking the lead. He's got it by about 1.5 lengths. Still Sham, 10 lengths back. My Gallant, Fight the Prince. They're moving on the turn now. For the turn of Secretariat, it looks like he's opening. The lead is increasing. They get 3.5. He's moving into the turn. Secretariat holding on to a large lead. Jam is second, and then it's a long way back to My Gallant and Fight the Prince. They're on the turn, and Secretariat is blazing along. The first 3/4 of a mile in 1:09 4/5. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Jam is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today as My Gallant and Fight the Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's out there almost a 1/16 of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that seems impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths. And now Price of Prince is taken second. My Ballad is moved down to third. Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. He is going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance. He hits the finish 25 lengths in front.
The win put Secretariat on the cover of Time magazine, caused him to be elected one of the top athletes ever in the 20th century, and made him a legend for all time. An iconic photo of the 31.5 left victory appears to show Turcotte looking back at his rival, but Turcotte says differently.
Well, I wasn't looking back at my rivals. I looked at the clock, what time I had running. And I saw 224 flat, and I told the outrider how fast I went. And Jim Daly, the outrider, had a habit of carrying a watch with him and timing the horses. And so he told me, he said, 224 flat? He said, can't be. And I said, that's 2.5 or 3 times second faster than any horse has ever done it. I says, I'm telling you, that's how fast he went. And then he showed me his stopwatch. He says, you're right.
Turcotte's career hummed along, and several times he was the leading rider on the tough New York circuit. Then, on July the 13th, 1978, after winning more than 3,000 races and at the time an incredible $28 million in purses, he accepted a mount on a nondescript undercard race on a horse with the odd name of Flag of Liat Golf. And what happened when the starting gate opened is every jockey's worst nightmare.
The inside horse was coming out and sent me across the other horse next to me, and I went down head first. I was trying to keep my horse up, and he just pulled me down, and I hit the ground real hard with my head, and the webbing inside my helmet broke. Luckily, it broke because I had broken my neck. So my shoulders hit, and then I broke two more than that, four vertebrae. I smashed 2 of them to a pulp and broke the other one on top and one on the bottom.
Were you?
So I'm paralyzed from here.
Do you remember when you woke up and you realized what happened to you?
Oh, I was really. I never lost consciousness anytime. I just told it was the outrider there, and Frank Calvary's came running from the starting gate, and I said, "Don't touch me, guys. I think I'm paralyzed," because I had reached for my legs. I couldn't move my legs; they were all crooked, like cross one over the other. And I says, I couldn't reach him, and when I went over my belly, it just felt like a big bag of water in that. And it was a shock. That's the thing I fear the most. That would happen, by riding. Riding and getting killed is one thing. Riding and putting you in a wheelchair for the rest of your life is another thing. But there's nothing anybody can do, and there's no sense in dwelling over it.
Ronnie and Gatain, his wife of 57 years, have 4 daughters and 5 grandchildren. And for the Turcottes, faith and family has always been a big part of their lives.
When I came home, after that, he came to see me in the hospital. And when I went back home, after I was able to, they treated me the same as nothing had happened. And that's the way they always been. So that helps a lot. That helps your morale on that. And naturally, we went to church every day, every Sunday, I mean, and prayed together. We believe in God, and that helped a lot. I thank God every morning that I open my eyes. I thank Him, and I always look up to God. Whenever I feel bad or something like that, I just look up to Him and ask Him to give me a hand, and He does.
Race riding is a dangerous world of exhilarating highs and emotionally devastating lows. Yet Turcotte becoming paralyzed in a racing accident was not the only tragedy he faced. He's the oldest of 5 brothers who became jockeys, likely a record in itself. And sadly, 3, Roger, Noel, and Rudy, committed suicide.
With the third one that started, Roger. Roger, there was a pony coming on the got loose, and he came running on the inner rail. When Roger was riding, he was right on the fence, and there was a horse outside of him. He came down on the fence the wrong way around. He went clockwise, and they hit head on, and Roger went flying. And after that, it took him a little while. He came back, started riding, and he had a few spills like that, and then the bottle got to him. And whenever anything happened, it was always the bottle. And the same thing with all 3 of them.
They drank too much.
Noel was next to me, and when you didn't have good days, and then you get to drinking, and it went on for days and stuff like that, and people realized that and quit riding them, and that's what happened to them. Brody, Noel and Roger were very, depressed, and I think depression is because they hide themselves. And Brody lived on to just died a few years ago, and the bottle got him too. He was every one of them could ride.
Rudy was a really rider of note. I mean, he won some major races. Rudy did, I think.
Yes, he did. But like I said, if anything happened like that, just didn't have. I wouldn't say they didn't have courage. They get discouraged real fast. And that's something that I didn't do. I mean, I was no better than anybody, but I was, I had a good family, good wife, good children.
Youngest brother, Eve, was also a jockey, and after retiring became a track steward at Calgary Park in Alberta, Canada.
I was very proud. He was top rider in Alberta, and then after he got a bad spill and he got hit in the head, he had brain injury, he had cracks at the skull, and they stopped him from riding. He wouldn't give a license to ride anymore, and the Jockey's Guild couldn't insure him if he ride. And so he decided that I talked to him. We talked back and forth. And I told him, I said, listen, I said, why don't you get out now that you can walk on your own? And you always wanted to be a steward. Go to school for it and go get what you want. And that's what he did.
Most of Turcotte's time has been spent raising funds for other jockeys who, like him, suffered career-ending injuries. He has been a strong supporter of the charity Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund and Jockeys and Jeans, a group of former jockeys, including myself, who have thus far raised over $2 million for the PDJF. The charity makes $1,000 monthly payments to some 60 former jockeys, including 40 who, like Turcotte, no longer ride racehorses, but wheelchairs. And his message to those riders, particularly those whose injuries are fresh?
I tell them, listen, it happened. Now pick it up from there. Says take it one day at a time. Just don't make long plans, and just take it one day at a time. You may recover, get back to riding, or you still can live a good life. So there's not much you can tell somebody like that, after a tragic accident, their long dream of being a jockey is gone. Like me, the thing I miss the most is sitting on a horse, always really at home on a horse.
For decades, he spent time visiting tracks and signing autographs to benefit racing's charities. Although he would not guess, it's accurate to say he has signed tens of thousands of autographs. And that photo of him and Secretariat winning the Belmont Stakes, well, that remains the most popular.
I enjoyed going out and signing autographs and that with all the other participants. And there's so many of us in wheelchairs, and some of them is other problem, but they can't ride anymore. And but I just love doing it, to help everybody. When I go to a track to sign, I tell them to send a check, send $10,000 to whatever
PDJF.
whatever. Yeah, PDJF and so this way I don't have to pick it up, and so they just take care of it, and Leonard Lusky made sure that they do it.
He said he last visited a track at New York's Belmont Park to see Justify win the Belmont Stakes to complete his Triple Crown sweep in 2018. In 2023 is the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's Triple Crown. But Turcotte said he is not capable of traveling and cannot personally attend the many events.
I miss to see all my friends there. That's what life is all about. I was blessed. I was blessed with horses, riding horses. I was blessed to get a job at the racetrack, and blessed with horses. And then I had an accident, and that happened. And what am I going to do? I just take it one day at a time, and everything has been fine. I'm happy, and I miss riding, but I'm happy.
Ronnie Turcotte, at 80, remains a racing icon and a shining example to all who spent much of their lives in wheelchairs. He is a man who loves God, family, and his neighbor as himself. He is also a man who used his faith to overcome some of life's most tragic circumstances. The Secretariat, syndicated for a then record $6 million in 1972, died at 19 and is buried at historic Claiborne Farm near Lexington, Kentucky. He never produced any horse who came close to his incredible ability. But the legend that is Secretariat and Ronnie Turcotte will live on in infamy.
Like I said, he was the greatest horse that ever lived. I don't think we'll ever see one like him. He made a legend out of me.